Hi there, my name is MoOne from MoOne Drama, and this is MoOne Interviews. My guest today is Gail le Guilcher from the UK, and Gail is a makeup artist. Hi, Gail.
Hi.
Tell me, how did you get into being a makeup artist?
I fell into it. I've always been creative. Loved drawing as a child, and when my children were small and they were at primary school, and I got involved with the PTA and fundraising and just doing the events, and I'd always be the one that goes, yeah, I'll do the face painting. I loved the reveal at the end when you hold the mirror up and they see it. I was working as an admin for a letting agents, and I lost my job due to the recession starting, and I decided to take myself on some face painting courses. My daughter's 21 this year, my son's 28, so we're talking 15 years ago. And I just went online and found some beginners courses on face painting. So you pay and you go and you do a whole day of different techniques, and I just flew through it. So I decided after 2 courses at the beginning stage I really needed the intermediate, so I went straight on to some more of the advanced courses, and then literally anybody who came to the house had to sit down and get painted. My children would lock themselves in their room because they did not want to, like, no, don't paint me again.
Everyone's a blank canvas.
So I did a lot of practicing on myself and on my thighs.
Did you have to have like a big investment to get the makeup?
My original kit unfortunately got stolen. My car was broken into and I'd left my kit in the car, and the whole lot went. And when I added it all up together, there was £1,500 worth of kit in there, which I'd built up over 10 years.
Oh my God. Because brushes and all that stuff is very expensive, and then
and also you yourself know is you'll have your brushes laid out and you'll go to get a brush because you know what it does. So as I was getting used to new kit, because over 10 years, and you just think, oh yeah, I'll try that brush, and it has a really wonderful result, I'd go and get my old friend and it wasn't there, and it was really difficult getting used to new brushes and what they did. So that I think that was the most difficult part for me.
And then you've got the box that opens out, and so that you can spread it on the
well, I've got
table.
this is only one of the boxes that I've got. I had there was a lady called Sally Ann Lynch. She's a fantastic face painter. I've done a couple of courses with her, and she makes bespoke palettes. These are called one strokes. I'll do a little demo later on, and so I'll show you how they work. It's all face paint, really good face paints, and she just creates them and puts them into these, I think they're like fishing tackle boxes that she uses. But the color combinations I've got
very nice colors.
So she donated a load of her stuff, and I've got 4 boxes of these. So I swap them round for work, and I'll just think, okay, I'll have a colour palette of such and such today.
Just looking at that makes me want to dive in and paint myself like all over.
I know, it's just fab. I've got a suitcase which works for me at the moment. So normally this would be more familiar to you. The pots like this, and I like the stacking ones.
Yeah,
they just come apart like that. These are the larger ones, and then you've got the smaller ones, and then I decant them into these.
So then you have like a whole range in under one lid.
Those are all my neons, and then I've got these ones which are all my metallics.
Gosh. So when you work with these, do you have to look at lighting design or like the venue? And then you've got to think about, well, what kind of lighting is it going to be?
That's what technical rehearsals are for. So anyone who wants to start up, throwing yourself into it wholeheartedly and do the children events first. So school fairs and fetes, perfect. Keep your designs simple, because you will be the busiest person at that fete. You queue will be so long. You don't want to look behind you, because sometimes that can really put you off, because you just think, I'm never going to get through this line. So have someone who can work with you, who can change your water, who can make sure that you keep drinking fluids, because inevitably these events happen in the summer and you'll get hot and bothered. So throw yourself into those. Doesn't matter if you don't really make much money. What you're gaining is that experience. When you're starting off, once you've got that little bit of experience behind you for the pressure side of things, go forward and start realizing your worth, because it does take a long time to think, yeah, I have got better.
You got some really wonderful photographs. We can look through some of those. I saw like you've painted butterflies. I mean, how long does it take you to paint a butterfly on someone's face that's as large as their face?
About 5 minutes for an average paint. So if I'm
Wow.
but that's practice. And there are so many different ways of doing butterflies. You can do it with sponges. So this would, they all get washed on 90 degrees, but they still stain. So that's what you'd call, that's a teardrop sponge. So if I was to load it with a one stroke, I would use the tip of the sponge on the inside, so that it's picking up the white, and then these two colours are on the outside. And then so you create your wing that way, and it gives you a lovely blended solid colour to start with. And those are the easiest ones to do, because then you just go over with your outline and then fill in to do your body and your antenna, and you can add whatever you want to it, add flowers, or I don't know, mash it up with Spider-Man or something like that. And they're the quickest ones to use. But if you were to use this one, which obviously you can't really use a sponge on that, because the colours are some of them have got 6 colours in them, so you can't use a sponge because it would just all get muddied up. So you use a brush like that, or slightly smaller.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so then when you load the brush up, you then do a sweep, and you do like the individual wings, and then you build up the colour. So those take a little bit longer. So if you were, say, doing a fate, you would want to go for the sponge, because you get really good colours. Really, it's easier to do your symmetry. So it's symmetrical on both sides. You can build up your speed really well. But if you're doing like a private venue where, say, you're doing a party for 30 children over a period of 2 hours, they can take a little bit more time in the chair, so you can use this and do a lot more detail. And so it all depends on what you're doing, where you are, where the event is, how many people that you're going to be painting. Because if it's a festival, then you have to adapt to children and adults. And probably I would say it's 60-40 split, 60% being adults that get painted most of the time, not just at festivals. It's the themed parties that I do, nightclubs, things like that, because I've got neon colours as well, so they'll glow beautifully under the black light. So there are so many different avenues that you can go down. And then I just fell into the theatre, because my dad had been in our local Amdram society for, I think it was about 40 years, and they needed help with a show for makeup. And I hadn't really, I'd done makeup at college. I did a hairdressing and beauty therapy course, and we did makeup as well, but I qualified in it, but it wasn't my passion. But theatre makeup is, because it's big and bold, and it's just much more challenging. When people ask me, oh, do you do wedding makeup? Not unless you want to look like a pantomime dame.
You've got some
Oh,
drag pictures here, which looks
yeah, we did
amazing.
Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. So going back to what you were saying about the lighting, that's why
Yeah,
technical is so important, because you'll design all your makeup, but until the technical's going and you can see what lights they're using,
that's right.
you'll do your makeup, you'll do your principal's makeup, or the character's makeup, doesn't necessarily have to be the principal's. And then they get up on stage and you sit at the front row and you're watching and you're thinking, doesn't even look like they've got any makeup on. So you're going to have to
Wash out.
double what you've put on, make it bigger and bolder. And so you're just wrenching people off the stage and, right, okay, let's make this. I need to do this, this and this to it. And then they go back up and it's, yep, that's it. That's what we need to do. But some shows like Cats, where you had to design the makeup. So my daughter designed the costumes, and then myself and wonderful lady Chris Robinson made the costumes between us. We were lost for 3 months just in costume making. And I was running, not only was I doing that, I was running workshops to get a team together to help do the makeup.
Did they have experience already in?
No, we had a couple of students from college, and they came and did their work experience with me, which was great. And they've gone on to do some good stuff. And I actually worked along one of my students at that Hobbs show where I did the body painting, the giraffe body painting. She was there. She was helping. That was pretty cool.
You've got to show them the approved designs.
The approved designs were in the pipeline, because we had to design them and then they had to be sent off to the Andrew Lloyd Webber team, the entertainments team, for them to assess them to see whether or not they were acceptable, because they couldn't be too close to the original makeup. So we looked at the original makeup and then we had to change it so that it wasn't too close to it. My daughter was designing the costumes. I wanted the makeup to flow into the costume. There wasn't, you haven't got like an orange and brown suit and then you've got a red and yellow face. That's just not going to work. But because it was quite a long process of sending the pictures away and waiting for verification whether this group of pictures that we'd sent were okay, I was having to wait. So the workshops I had to find out what the guys' strengths and weaknesses were. So I taught them how to blend first. Then we were working on lines and like delicate lines. And
I noticed it's very difficult if you've got like a white base and then you want to put black line on it.
The products need to be a high quality, really good pigmentation. So there are certain products that you get used to using, and the amount of pressure that you put on, whether it will take away or blend into the background. So it's all about the pressure, how wet your brush is, and what product you're using. So if you've got a white background, you're putting black on, that's easier than having a black face and putting white on. You've got to really make sure that the product's dry, so you don't get that watery, muddy effect.
Because when it does muddy, you've got to throw it off and start again.
Well, yeah. I mean, with face painting, if it's delicate lines, it's better to stop and go, this was my mantra, girls, actually, when I was teaching them. Don't keep going over it and thinking it's going to get better, because it won't. If you go wrong, take it off. Even if it's just a section, just take it off, reblend, let it dry, do it again, because it will just look worse and worse. The more you try to go over it, don't bother. It is easier to take it off and start again. We literally had all the colours in the centre with brushes and pots, and I literally would do a demo, and then I would get them to follow what I was doing, and then literally go, right, wipe it all off, go for it. So be walking around the table, and someone, they would say, oh, it's not going on properly. So I would see how wet the sponge was. I would show them the technique of drying it off and loading the sponge up, because it's simple things like that you don't load the sponge in a certain way, you won't get the right effect. And if you push down and sweep, all you're doing is moving the product away. So it's better to tap and roll. And then when you want to do your blending, that's when movements become a lot smaller and you can blend in, never rub. It's just going to leave spaces, leave gaps. It's all just silly things like that. And I'd be doing, I think it was 5-hour workshops I was doing once a week.
What are the shows that you've done?
I've worked with the juniors, so like the very visually stimulating ones are obviously my favourites, so like Wizard of Oz.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's obviously, there's a lot of like great characters. Susical, so I created Who Noses. All their noses looked upturned. It was brilliant. It was so cute. Adam's Family, which was a big production, and there were 12 ancestors that all had to be in different styles of death, shall we say. So some were shot, some had throats cut. There was an airline steward who had been in a plane crash, and so all these different things, and you just had to make it really bold and really over the top because they were supposed to look really quite scary, and there was a comical element to it as well. So yeah.
And is that where you get the 3D effect as well when you're doing wounds and gore?
You use wax, and I use wax and latex and build up. It is actually 3D. Jesus Christ Superstar, the guy Ian who played Jesus, bless him, by the end of the week he just had a pink back because the blood would seep underneath the latex and it would stay there for hours. Obviously he just has a pink back by the end of the week. So that's when I really taught my daughter how to do the special effects, and she was about 15 when she mastered it.
Oh wow. And now she's 21 and she's still doing it.
She'll be 21 in September and she's flying. She was at the red carpet opening of Onward going back a couple of months ago, and she was just asked if she would do the character Ian Lightfoot, and Tom Holland, I think it is.
Yeah.
He does the voice for Ian Lightfoot, so she got to meet him. She now does talks at Comic-Cons where she shows how to do makeup. She'll do crossover makeup, so from girl to boy, boy to girl. She'll show how to do the aging, and she's grabbed it and ran with it. She's really, really good.
Because of her encouragement from you as her mum, she's been able to explore and go with her passion and see if this is what she wants to do. Some teenagers, when they're deciding what they want to do, they have to go through what their parents ask them to do first, which is something sensible. And you're not, which is good, because then she gets to explore at a younger age and build up that experience and confidence.
I experienced it from wanting to do art when I was leaving school, and I wasn't allowed to, so I went on I had to do a trade, so I chose hairdressing because I got to do art once a week. I went through so many different jobs before I kind of got my teeth into the face and body painting, and I just thought, you're a long time working, and you really need to do something that you love and you're passionate about and you get some enjoyment from, at least, or reward. So you do that. If I could go back 20 years, I would have heavily got into prosthesis and hopefully done like movie work, because that is where another passion lies, is that special effects side of things.
But satisfaction versus the financial benefits. If you had to be an accountant or a lawyer or a doctor, like a lot of Asian parents would like their children to be, they're looking at it from a financial perspective, and how much they're going to invest in their child's education, and how is it going to pay back. I think they're doing it out of love and kindness because they want their child to be set up. But I'm like you, I prefer to be encouraged to do something I'm passionate about, regardless of whether it pays, because to me the satisfaction is worth more than the monetary value. I want to have a life where I feel happy with what I do, rather than a retirement that makes me comfortable. And, you know, maybe you can get both. It's possible.
I agree 100% with you. It all depends on how much time and effort you put into it. If I had the years behind me and I was like 20 years younger and I had the knowledge of what I have now, I would push myself even further. When you decide to learn something, it's so much fun to learn it. And it doesn't matter how many times you get it wrong, you can just wipe it off and start again. The small little insights that you can get from other people saying, why don't you try it like this? Instant gratification that you get from learning something and conquering it. My nemesis was unicorns, but it became a really big thing, so I had to learn it. If you put the time and the effort and the practice and dedication into it, you can have the fun as well as making the money. The better you are, the more you'll get paid, the more doors open. Try saying yes to pretty much everything to start with, because you don't know where your strengths are until you're challenged with something. The more things that you can do, the more you have to offer and the more money you can make.
Promotion for brands, for those kind of events, there's more money in that than there would be at a summer fair. But you have to do the summer fair to get the experience.
But that's your starting point, because what you're learning there, you can make quite a bit of money. You're getting that experience of the pressure at fairs. It is quite valuable to do those. But as time goes on and you can pick and choose the events that you go to. I love doing dog shows, for instance. So you've got the same sort of setup as a child's summer fete, but you're a dog show, so you're surrounded by animals and your face painting ends up to be very animal themed. And it's that energy that you take from the event as well, because I'm very much an energetic worker.
That picture of a very realistic dog, is it someone's arm?
That was my Chops. I'd lost him 2 weeks previous to that, and I was doing an international competition. It was a face painting competition for people all over the world, obviously. And you were given a theme, and then you could choose different titles within that theme. The first one was to do a zebra crossed with a donkey, I think. I painted my daughter. I literally did a zebra donkey with stripes coming down her face as well, so it blended in. And I got through to the next round, and the people were eliminated as there were 5 rounds. And I got to the final round, and it was realistic that I chose. And I just gave it a go. And I had this beautiful photo of Chops, who had not long died. And I really put everything that I could into that picture. So that means a lot to me.
And it is very realistic.
But I didn't know that I could do realistic. You know, to me, it was always cartoony, theatre work, big and bold. But I was really proud of myself with that.
And you've done a spider as well?
Yeah, 3D stuff, that takes time. The shading and the light is obviously the most important thing on those. Those are just like, I'll get my paints out, I'll just start doodling on my leg or my arm, and then something progresses. I went through a stage of doing eyes all the time, and then you master them. Feathers, you go through different phases of learning different things. But yeah, the 3D stuff is so much fun to do. The laces on
the laces, the shoelaces on your arm. Yeah, I like that. You've done body painting and wigs. It looks like you put beards on kids. I love that.
I started doing that. We had a motorbike. We were a motorbiking family for a while, and we used to do a bike night on a Thursday night all throughout the summer. So Thursdays I would take my event shelter down there, and big burly bikers and the children, they would have a patch test behind their ear to make sure they were all right with the adhesive that I was using. And it was all spirit gum, so it was the stuff that you used in theatres for sticking prostheses and wigs down and doing prosthesis beards. So they would go off for their little patch test, and they'd come back, and Dad would be there with his big bushy beard, and then son would walk out with a big bushy beard too. It was really funny. It's such great fun. Yeah, I'll offer that this week, and it went down really well. Brilliant. I do the Hells Angels twice a year. They have a cider rally, which is local to us. There's the photographs of the the bikers with their rainbow glitter beards and their unicorn faces. And then I do a Halloween party every year as well.
So between spring and Halloween, I'm sure you're really, really busy.
Obviously, with COVID-19 at the moment,
right,
the theatres are all closed down. So everyone's having a break from the theatre side of things. And I can't paint. Everything has had to stop, but it's private functions, birthday parties. Yesterday it was V-Day, wasn't it, here? Things would have been happening, there would have been parties, I would have been booked for something. Then you've got private birthday parties when they get dressed up and they have themes.
So is there anything you can do?
Well, it's still practice. I got myself another job so that I've got money coming in, so I'm a support worker. My face painting will hopefully pick up where it left off.
Right.
The clients are still there. I paint at McDonald's twice a month, so I'll do a lunchtime on a Saturday, and that's free to the customers.
Is that in Cheddar?
Not in Cheddar, in Weston-super-Mare.
So you're based in Somerset, for anyone who's interested in contacting you.
Yeah, I had an inquiry from America going back a few years ago, and they thought I was based in America. Well, I was trying to work out where this Woof Fest was. And I just could not. I was looking for the street that she was telling me about. And in the end, when I Googled it, I just messaged her back, which country are you in? But it was quite funny.
Body painting?
I started by doing the bump paintings. That's pregnant ladies who want a little snapshot of the baba. Maybe they do a reveal of the gender. That's sweet, and that's really lovely when the baby starts moving when you're painting. And then I started doing chest and back painting. Obviously you've got a bigger canvas than a face and you can do a lot more. So I started practicing with that. A lot of people use airbrushes now, so they work with that, which you get some beautiful results from. I need the space and the area to be able to do that, so it's all brushwork for me.
Right, so can you show us something so that anyone watching can have a go?
If I do a demo of what I would have showed for the cats workshop, basic blending and tiger stripes, which is always easy to do because it's girl or boy. Don't discriminate. The lads want rainbows and sparkles, which I always encourage.
Right.
Go for it.
Want tarantulas too.
I'm going to start with that colour palette. So I've loaded up, pinch it together, really intense amount of paint in a small area. So if I tap, you get a better coverage than if I was to rub. Put it on quite strong actually the first time. So I've just tapped it on. Turn the sponge over, because what you want to do is leave colour on there. So when you've got different colours on each side, you're able to twist it so that you can blend the colours in. Sometimes when the paints haven't been used for a little while, they need to be activated a bit longer. So if I just pop that colour by the side, so now I've got the two colours, and I can now start, take my glasses off, start to blend in. My sponge is a bit wet actually. So you're just looking for a very subtle blend. Right. So I'll just leave that dry for a minute. So what experience have you got with your painting then?
Well, after I finished my A-levels in arts, theatre studies and English literature, like many, many eons ago, I went to Hounslow Borough College in the evenings and I did a makeup artistry course. Each week I had to bring a model and we had a theme that we were going to learn for a couple of hours, and we'd take a picture before and a picture after. And so it went through from aging to natural look to special effects, gore, and all kinds of things like stubble. At the end of the course, you got a certificate, which I can't find. It's lost, but it was a great experience. It was definitely useful for the future when I work in theatre and I have to do my own makeup, and it certainly helps. It takes much less time to do it yourself when you know what you're doing. I've also done lots of kids shows, and there's like 60, 70 kids in one show, and I usually get painted as well as director, so I have to come out at the end and thank everyone. It's wonderful. I grew up in that environment. I grew up going to the theatre, and if you've got 8 shows a week like that and you're a kid, you can't leave that behind and just get on with a normal life.
And it's learning to work under pressure, isn't it, as well?
Absolutely. It's amazing. I can't throw any of that away and say I don't need it. It's all relevant to what I do.
And it's how the atmosphere changes when you go from rehearsal to rehearsal to rehearsal. And then suddenly the team comes in and we start, okay, well, if we can paint such and such and such and such tonight, all of a sudden their whole character just is almost complete, even if they haven't got the costume on. Right, so it's dried nicely now, and I've loaded this brush up with a very high pigmented, these are Diamond FX paints. So I'm literally just going to do, can you see that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm literally going to add some stripes. So my point of the brush is very gentle, and as I come down, I'll add some pressure and then bring it back up again and just fill in the gaps, really. So if I was doing this for just a fun design, face painting at a party, once that's dried, I would then add
I had 84 kids in a show about sun bears, and everyone was a bear, but every face had a slightly different bear character to it. Backstage was riot. It was like bears running around all over the place. When they get their makeup on, they start behaving automatically because they don't want
gonna ruin it.
Don't want to mess it
Don't
up.
want to get told off.
It's just jumping off your arm now, and you did that so effortlessly.
Just a basic leaf. So that's, I mean, you can do leaves in any colour, and that's got a metallic shine to it, which is quite nice. So I'm literally going to pick up these 2 colours here, and I've got an angled brush, so I'm picking up the paint like that. So when you apply it, then you should get the 2. It all depends on what style leaf that you do. Then, because I've got the dark on the tip, you can turn the brush around so that you can bring the green, the dark green into the middle. When we did Little Shop of Horrors, so you've got Audrey too, who's the plant right at the end. Won't do a spoiler, but right at the end there's a massive transformation with everybody covered in leaves. So it was speed painting at its best. We literally had 40 seconds per character for them to come to us off stage and get painted with leaves and vines, like wherever their skin was exposed. And then the next one and the next one. So I think it was about 12 characters. We had a couple of minutes as they came off stage, and then they were doing like an encore, all covered in these vines. But we literally had to speed paint leaves.
That kind of challenge is what makes theatre exciting. You have to do something and it doesn't look possible, but then you pull it all out and you do it, and the sense of achievement is fantastic.
When we did Cats the first time round with the juniors, I had a team of parents who were helping me with the makeup then, and I think there was probably 6 of us doing it then, and we started practicing at rehearsals, and we started off at 3 hours to paint 46 children, and by the end of the workshops and by the beginning of the show we had it down to 1 hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah,
We just I know it, right? We were celebrating massively. By the time the end of the workshop were finished, and we were like, can't believe we're knocking it out. They worked so well together as a team. It's another nice part of this whole thing. You build up friendships that will be there for life. It's just great. I got so many good friends and great memories. Great memories.
Absolutely. You can't buy that with any money.
No.
Those kinds of feelings. So let's have a look. What have you got? Let's have a look at the leaves.
So we've got the...
That's wonderful. And the leaves, you just make it look so effortless, but it's so effective. Well done.
I wouldn't say I'm the best at flowers, but I do like doing them. I'm going to use this lilac. I'm going to do the base. So that's the
looks like a
base
pansy.
of the flower. Yeah, if I was to do a pansy, I'd do it slightly different. I'd load up the brush. You do that, and then you turn the brush around, because the pansies, they have one leaf that's the colours are switched. So now my dark colour's on the outside, so I want my white to be on the outside now, and you just bring it round like that, and then you fill in. So you're creating that
highlights.
Can you see?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can see that.
This is standard. Lose the colours and dip my brush in my coffee at McDonald's, and they'll say, do you want something to eat or something to drink? So I'm constantly being rehydrated.
Served.
But if someone puts the drink down, it's too close to my water, and I've not really noticed it. It's like a homing device has to go into the drink, not the water. Right, so creating that tube, like the rosebud that's right in the centre. So it's almost like a lotus, actually. So for doing specifically that's an old white. So when I start getting down to the, it's getting close to becoming empty, I start using the white then for doing tips of highlights, because it's the most useful thing that you can do. So that's purple and pink on there now. And if I was just to wet down a small section of that white, and then using the tip, the very, very tip of that brush, just to pick the white up, you've got your highlight then. Getting the idea of the different colours, how they blend in really easily. Glitters, get biodegradable glitters now, which is lovely. And chunky glitters. Always adding a bit of glitter to face paint is fab. And the lads like to go for the metallic, that's me, Guy's glitter. They seem to like that one. So just literally finishing off, that's what I was getting it out for. I don't know whether it will pick up the sparkle on there.
Oh yeah, I can see it.
It's just little nice addition to finishing off a face paint.
Well, thank you, Gail. You've inspired and delighted my senses to really learn more. So what would you advise if you're a school leaver who is thinking of taking this up as maybe a part-time occupation? What would you advise them do if they wanted to get into this?
Get your basic colours, start collecting, get people to donate makeup to you. Everyone's got foundations and things like that in their cupboard which they've forgotten about, which they don't use anymore. They went and bought something else. Ask people to donate their unwanted makeup so that you can play with it, because even if you've got an eyeshadow, you add water to it, you can do painting. Please don't use acrylics. Please don't use that on your body. Use proper makeup that's designed to let your skin breathe. I would say build up a good selection of things that you can practice with. Your thighs are really great canvases. I've mastered so many different things by using my thighs. lots of people don't want to be painted continuously. So yeah, I would put the practice in, get as much stuff donated to you as possible, to challenge yourself, get people to challenge you so that you can do something that would be outside your comfort zone, because you will always get asked to do weird and wacky things, and there are so many YouTube videos out there, so many great face painters that you can get inspired by. So watch them and watch their techniques and just keep pushing yourself.
Every house guest is a potential client that you could try on.
Oh, 100%. 100%. That's why I do my thigh, because what I used to do on my face doesn't look quite as good anymore, because I've got a few more wrinkles. And I look at it now and I go, yeah, I'd love to do that, but I need to do it on somebody else, because that's just not going to work on me anymore. So get the practice in while your face is still young. But no, that's what I would say, was just push yourself and challenge yourself, and just play and really enjoy it.
And you never know.
If you've got the right attitude, like my daughter, she's just tried everything, and people will request things and she's like, right, okay. And it's opened so many different doors because she's just gained that experience and that knowledge and the techniques of doing things.
Well, thank you, Gail. Thank you so much for coming on. And yeah, if anybody wants to contact you or, want to hire you, is there anywhere that they can go?
If you go onto Facebook, and I've got a page, it's called Face Painting by Jelly Boo, and I'm more than happy to help as far as like guidance with anything really, because I'm making costumes and props. I worked my way up to stage management, so I was a manager of a play for Sunshine Productions. It helps when you're concentrating maybe just on the makeup. Listen to the director, ask what it is that they want, what they're looking for. They're your inspiration. You get into their head and know exactly what their goal is and what their image is of the whole setup of the show.
Make a good team member, then you just get more.
Yeah, that's be flexible, be kind, be understanding, be patient, be tidy. Grab it and run with it and enjoy it, because life, you have to enjoy life.
Thank you.
Well, good luck with everything that you're doing.
Thank you very much. You are my first interviewee, so this is where I launch my YouTube channel with Gail le Guilcher. Well, thank you, Gail.
Remember to like, share and subscribe to MoOne Drama for the choicest, tastiest, most wholesome drama around.